The moment Antare's claw appeared, it instantly destroyed the demonic claw that had emerged from the rift. With a single strike, the terrifying claw was completely wiped out. As soon as it disappeared, the sky above the ancient city returned from black to normal. Everything became peaceful once again, and the chaos raging in every direction came to an abrupt end. The people throughout the ancient city immediately let out sighs of relief. Meanwhile, our hero looked at Antares and gratefully said, "Thank you for saving us." Hearing this, Antares seemed slightly annoyed. At the same time, one of the city's seniors looked around at the now peaceful surroundings. Feeling both confused and nervous, he muttered, "Has the crisis ended?" Then he turned toward our hero and said, "General Lin, thank you. Thanks to you, the ancient city of Shangxia and everyone living here managed to survive." In response, our hero smiled reassuringly and replied, "Don't worry. Everything is fine now." Just then, Antar's voice echoed in his ears. "Kid, come quickly. I have something good for you." The moment he heard those words, our hero wasted no time and instantly teleported to Antare's location. As soon as he arrived, he directly asked, "Antares, what good thing do you have for me?" Seeing him arrive so quickly, Antares spoke in a slightly irritated yet serious tone. "You brat, the moment you hear there's something good, you come running at lightning speed, don't you?" Immediately afterward, he summoned the ancient Thunder Tower's weapon and pointed at it with his claw, signaling our hero to look over there. The moment he saw the weapon, our hero's eyes widened in shock as he exclaimed, "Is this the ancient Thunder Tower?" Antares immediately became serious and began explaining. "In truth, the ancient city of Shangxia that you saw is actually a heavily damaged fortress. It was once an incredibly powerful weapon of war, and it had another name. It was called the God-Slaying Fortress." Hearing this, our hero's expression turned serious as he muttered, "The God-Slaying Fortress? Does the God-Slaying part refer to transcendent gods?" Antares immediately replied in an even more serious tone, "Then you're seriously underestimating the God-Slaying Fortress. The gods it refers to are true gods." The moment those words entered his ears, our hero was completely stunned. A faint layer of sweat appeared on his forehead as he muttered in disbelief, "True gods? This is the first time I've ever heard of such an existence." After a brief pause, he asked, "What kind of beings are they?" Activating several imaginary projections, Antares began explaining, "Whether they are gods or human cultivators, once they reach the level of transcendence, all paths ultimately lead to the same destination. At that stage, they are all called transcendent gods. However, beings even stronger than transcendent gods are known as true gods. The God-Slaying Fortress refers to true gods. It is a weapon of war specifically created to kill true gods. Unfortunately, the ancient city of Shangxia you see today was severely damaged during a great war, leaving behind only an empty shell. After 1,000 years, it has recovered to only around 10% of its original state. Of course, even at only 10%, its killing power is still extremely impressive. The only problem is that you're currently unable to bring out its true strength." While listening to the explanation and staring at the weapon, our hero asked, "So this is the key capable of controlling the God-Slaying Fortress?" Antares immediately nodded and replied, "That's right, you guessed correctly. You can fuse your soul imprint into it and then connect it to the core of the ancient Thunder Tower. Once that's done, you'll be able to control the God-Slaying Fortress however you like and use it freely." After hearing this, our hero's expression became serious as he remembered the mysterious entity that had attacked the city earlier. But what about the mysterious existence that appeared before? Antares casually waved the concern away and replied, "No need to worry. I've already erased that guy's original soul imprint, so you can rest easy. He's just a little fellow who recently became a true god. There's no need to pay attention to him, and he won't dare come back again. If he does, this dragon will slap him to death with a single strike." As he said those words, Antares proudly puffed out his chest in front of our hero. Seeing this, our hero sincerely thanked him before preparing to leave. "Thank you for everything this time, Antares. I still have things to do, so I'll be heading back now." Hearing that, Antares immediately urged him to leave and impatiently told him to get out of here as quickly as possible. After that, the story shifted to Kunlun Mountain, where our hero had already arrived in front of the dungeon portal. In his hand was the sound god's artifact. Standing before the dungeon, he quietly muttered, "The Kunlun god has waited for 1,000 years. Now, he can finally reunite with his wife." As soon as he finished speaking, he released the artifact into the air. The moment it floated upward, its power spread throughout the entire Kunlun mountain range. The endless snowfall came to a halt, and the weather instantly became pleasant and peaceful. The sudden change in the environment left the human professionals in the area completely stunned. One of them looked around in disbelief and exclaimed, "The snowstorm stopped?" Another stared at the sky with wide eyes and said, "The blizzard that has covered the Kunlun mountains for 1,000 years actually stopped?" Someone else nervously asked, "What exactly happened?" At that moment, several people noticed something atop the distant mountains. Their eyes immediately widened in shock because a magnificent palace had become visible even from afar. Looking at it, one person shouted in disbelief, "Look, what is that?" Another stared at the structure and exclaimed excitedly, "The Kunlun Divine Palace. That's the real Kunlun Divine Palace." Meanwhile, our hero was already flying toward the Kunlun Divine Palace while carrying the divine artifact. A short while later, he entered the palace itself. The Kunlun god was already waiting there. The moment he saw him arrive, he smiled and said, "I've finally been able to wait for your arrival, Lin Moyu." At that very moment, a powerful surge of energy erupted from the artifact. The energy gradually began taking the form of the sound god's body. Moments later, the energy completely transformed into the sound god herself. However, she was still in a sleeping state. The instant he saw her, the Kunlun god hurried forward, gently lifted her into his arms, and spoke in an emotional voice, "Be good. Don't wake up yet. Sleep a little longer. Have a proper rest. I'll wake you when the time is right." As soon as those words left his mouth, the sound god's body transformed into pure energy and disappeared from sight. Looking into the distance, the Kunlun god spoke in a serious yet emotional tone. "A wish that I've carried for 1,000 years has finally been fulfilled." Then he respectfully bowed toward our hero and said, "Thank you, Lin Moyu." Seeing the Kunlun god bow before him, our hero quickly replied, "You're giving me far too much credit." Afterward, the Kunlun god summoned a Kunlun snowgrass king and handed it over as he said, "This is the reward I promised you. Take it." The moment the Kunlun snowgrass king appeared, a system notification popped up before our hero. It revealed that the item was a 1 in 200-year-old Kunlun snowgrass king. Anyone at level 92 could increase their level by 1 after consuming it, while a level 90 user could gain 2 levels at once. More astonishingly, a level 88 user could directly become a god with a single use. After giving him the item, the Kunlun god explained, "Once someone reaches the god rank, advancement is no longer achieved through gaining experience. Instead, levels are increased by strengthening the soul." Holding the Snowgrass King in his hands and examining it closely, our hero was visibly shocked. This Kunlun Snowgrass King can directly increase soul strength and allow god rank experts to level up. Staring at it with widened eyes, he thought to himself, although it's not as powerful as the 9-colored dragon soul crystal, it's still an incredibly precious treasure. Seeing his reaction, the Kunlun god smiled and said, "If you're not in a hurry to consume it, you might want to try its other use." Looking slightly confused, our hero asked, "Another use? What is it?" The Kunlun god explained, "Find a place where elemental energy is both rich and pure, then plant the Snowgrass King there. In the near future, you'll harvest countless snowgrasses. There's even a chance that a second Snowgrass King could grow. Who knows? In the future, it might even cultivate itself into a god." Previously, there was a Snowgrass King that successfully became a deity and called itself the Kunlun Snow God. Hearing this, our hero immediately thought about the snow god he had previously destroyed and quietly muttered, "I see. So that's what it was." The Kunlun god then smiled and said, "You've already received your reward. You may leave now." Our hero nodded and bid farewell. The moment he finished speaking, he began teleporting away from the palace. However, just as the teleportation process started, the Snowgrass King suddenly wrapped itself around his body and began releasing an enormous amount of energy. In the next instant, it directly entered his spiritual world. As soon as it arrived there, the Snowgrass King started releasing its immense power throughout the entire spiritual world. The moment the 9-colored dragon soul crystal sensed that energy, it was immediately attracted toward it. However, the Snowgrass King instantly released countless massive vines and began trying to capture the dragon soul crystal. While this intense struggle was taking place inside his spiritual world, our hero clutched his head in pain outside and exclaimed, "This is bad. The Snowgrass King's power seems to be conflicting with the dragon soul crystal." At that very moment, a powerful green-colored energy burst out from his body. Thick vines from the Snowgrass King began emerging from his hand. Seeing the green energy and the rapidly spreading vines, our hero's eyes widened in complete shock as he exclaimed, "Wait, this power, is it a law? And it's actually the law of life."